Hello.
The starts for these are getting
podcasts.
longer.
Yeah, I know. I listen to podcasts, and it's all like, little jingle, welcome to the Pubcast, reunit last, oh yeah, Kirioth and Stylosa, ho 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 ho, hey, sponsored by dickhead.com. And then it starts, but we don't have any of that. We just stare into a camera and go, hi.
And my camera goes weird and changes the amount
dickhead.com.
of red
Don't
balance.
Google that. Don't Google dickhead.com.
You sit like this, so it stays the same. Because otherwise,
Don't
the red
Google
balance goes in.
dickhead.com.
I'm gonna go.
When I was a kid,
You know what?
when I was a kid, one of my mates on his parents' computer in his front room Googled. Well, I say Googled. I think it was
Don't
Alta
go to
Vista.
dickhead.com. Don't do that.
Alta Vista, or it was
Alta Vista. Yeah,
no,
Alta. I remember Alta
Excite.
Vista.
I think it was Excite actually. You kids won't know about this. Search for bigballs.com, and what came up on the screen? His mother slapped him.
Why would you Google that?
Because we were kids and we were like Googling swear words. Well, it was not even Googling, is it? We were exciting swear words. And he was like, big balls. And then that came up on the screen. His mother slapped him. Anyway, moving on. So, welcome to the podcast.
Deserved. It is the 28th Pubcast. So we need to find a rhyme for 28th. I'm not going to lie, I feel like they've been decreasing in quality just because we're getting to repeated numbers. I mean, the last one was the
great 28th bloke.
The great 28th. Great.
It's quite simple. The great. Yeah, you have to have like a bit of a thing.
Okay, the great.
Make it work. The great.
Okay, I'm just gonna
You got to put GR8'TH for it. Like great, like great mate. Would you rate mate? Great mate.
It'll have to be that.
Yeah.
Because then that grammatically makes sense. No, that's gate. No, it needs to be GR.
You need an R, yeah.
8 apostrophe TH. The great 28th. That was easy. I mean, the last ones we've managed to kill about 20 minutes googling stupid rhymes for the thing, but it's fine. The great.
I'm here to promote Ubisoft with my Blood Dragon Cup.
I'm promoting,
which they sent for me. They sent to me for free.
Monster.
Full disclosure.
Assault.
Not again. Isn't that banned in America or somewhere else? Because it's fucking
That's the one I had. That's the one I had for hotfix. As you can tell, it's empty. My sleeping has got.
Seems to be loading up on them.
My sleeping has got. I only tend to drink them like on a Thursday now. Every other day it's just coffee all the time. But this is I need something a bit stronger to keep me going on Thursday.
You need to fucking calm down.
It's got far worse to the point where I've got a doctor's appointment tomorrow because I'm now just going to bed.
Doctor, I'm drinking a gallon of fucking Monster Ripper.
I'm doing that because I can't. Just the sleeping's gone. I only started doing this because for like a week I wasn't sleeping properly, and then it was like, this isn't getting better, and I've got no energy. I need to get energy.
When you say you're not sleeping properly, you say like difficulty going to sleep when you're in the sleep position. Is that what we're talking about? Just difficulty going to sleep.
Just difficulty going to sleep at any point. It's just not
mine
happening.
ain't. Mine's a dickhead self-imposed problem because I didn't stream on Wednesday, and I don't stream on Thursdays because it's my day off. But I was increasingly being a complete retard, Mr. Kirioth. Well, I was like, I'd wake up about 9 o'clock. Okay, that's relatively late, you'd say, for most people. 8:45, something like that. Go about my daily business. Then go to bed at about 2:30, and then wake up at about 8:45. And then go to bed at like 2:30. And some nights go to bed at gone 3 o'clock. And now I'm waking up with like 6 hours sleep. And it turns out that if you do that for about 3 weeks, it destroys you because you need more than 6 hours in bed. You need 8 hours, I believe. And I'm like, I'm destroyed. Like, so on Wednesday, I was absolutely annihilated. I was sitting here, right? This is how crazy it was. I had everything set up for the stream. I made a stream announcement video. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, I'm doing this. I'm like, I am tired. And I caught myself in OBS. And I looked at myself, and I'm like, I'm knackered. What am I doing? I'm just sitting here, and I'm going to stream. And I am really tired, but I'd forced myself to do it, and you guys probably wouldn't be able to tell if I did it. But then it's after that I'd be even more mullet. So I was like, you know what? I shouldn't probably stream. And then I went to bed at 7:30, and then I woke up at 9. It was like 15 hours of sleep. I was like, So that's why I feel much better today, because of course we record these on Thursday.
But see, I don't go to bed at crazy hours like that. It's like midnight. It's like the latest I'll go to bed, but I don't get to sleep until like 4 or 5, and then I'll wake up.
That drive me crazy.
I'll wake up at like, my alarm at the moment is set for 9:15, because if I get up any later than that, then I can't get a decent hour and a half walk with the dog, and she gets pissy anyway. and she starts like trying to wake me up. So it's like I might as well get up then. But it just gets worse and worse. And on was it? You know what? It was actually yesterday. I was like, I'm not gonna have any energy drinks, any coffee, nothing like that. I'm just gonna be sensible, and I'm just gonna, just have water during the day, have meals proper, and then I'll get an early night. Didn't have any of that. I was knackered all day. I went to bed at like midnight, and at 6 o'clock this morning, I was walking around downstairs on the iPad because I'd spent literally the last 6 hours not sleeping. Like maybe going to sleep for 10 minutes or so, but then being awake for like 40. And I was like, this is just getting fucking stupid. And then what day did I put the Mordheim video out? That was Tuesday, yeah. So on Tuesday, I also realised, and also people have been emailing me this, because we don't really publicise my email address, but no, it's kind of easy to figure out, and people have sent me stuff through there before. And I was like, on Tuesday, I started recording Mordheim, and I was like halfway through doing the video, and I kept forgetting what I was going to say, and I was like, for fuck's sake, what am I doing? This is bad. Maybe I need to write something down. And then my stomach started to hurt, and I was like, have I eaten something funny? What's going on here? This feels weird. Then I realised, no, it's 3 o'clock, and I didn't have breakfast, and I didn't have lunch, and all I've had all day has been 2 cups of coffee. That is probably why I feel like shit. So I went away and ate something. I was like, okay, no, I feel better. That's good. And then I was like, okay, so that I need to be a bit more careful with that. Wife comes home in the evening. I said, I forgot to have breakfast and lunch again. And she said, well, what did you have for breakfast yesterday? I went, oh shit, I forgot breakfast yesterday as well. So, well, what did you have for lunch yesterday? I said, oh, well, I forgot to have lunch then as well. Realised I'm not eating during the day. I'm just drinking coffee. And that's it, and I'm not eating.
No wonder you can't get to sleep because
like,
you're loaded with that shit.
But then I'm like
a metric fuck ton of caffeine.
But then I was like looking at it, and I was like, okay, no, this is kind of bad. And I actually got an email from someone, and this is what kind of set me off. And I just called the doctors this morning. Someone sent me an email and said, "Hey, Kiri, it's probably nothing, but you know when you were ill last year, you kept complaining about not being able to sleep and not eating properly, and now you're doing the same thing. Are they related?" And I was like, well, no, because I've had...
Well, who was this? Did I need a shout out?
There was a guy called Aiden. I can't remember his last name, but it was Aiden something at Gmail. 3000 or something? No, that's the Andre 3000. It was a number at the end of his name. And I was like, yeah, but it's different now, because I've had that, I went and had therapy, and I've got my medication and stuff. And then I looked at it and I was like, no, this is exactly the same. This is exactly the same pattern from when I was went into being really ill, where I wasn't sleeping, and I wasn't eating anything. And I was being really inconsistent with my diet. I was either eating nothing or eating a ton of really shit food. And then this morning I kind of woke up and I was like, yeah, no, this is, I'm just being a fucking idiot now. This is bad. So I called the doctors and I just went, yeah, so history, depression, not eating or sleeping. And the nurse goes, I'll put you through to the triage doctor. I was like, oh shit, okay. Spoke to the triage doctor and I said what was going on. He said, well, you seem very self-aware about it. So I'm assuming it's not, you're not feeling as bad. And I said, no, I'm not. I just can't sleep and I'm feeling really tired and a bit not with it. I said, but the thing is, it's been pointed out to me, and when I think about it, that's exactly what kicked off being ill last time. And he went, well, yeah, that's because you're ignoring it and you need to do something about it. So I've made an appointment for you tomorrow and you need to go and you do this and do that. I was like, okay, that's good. But it's stupid because I've done all this stupid therapy stuff, like the cognitive behavioural stuff, and I'm supposed to be able to recognise when this stuff starts to happen. Completely missed it this time. Absolutely, it just sailed past me and started affecting stuff again. And I'm just like, when did that... Where is the point at which I looked at this, in my head, and went, yeah, no, that's fine, normal behaviour. Not eating, not sleeping, no problem. Just happens. It doesn't fucking just happen, does it? Idiocy.
I got a text off the hospital yesterday. Because the hospital they love me, bloke. So I'm a valued customer. And they're like...
well, they've got 90% of your blood as well now, haven't they? So.
I know. They're like, hello. Don't forget that you've got an appointment on the 3rd of December. Great. I don't like these appointments because you're laughing about blood. Yeah, it's a blood test, but it ain't a normal blood test. It's fucking 4. Thank you. And then it's...
Well, yeah, it's not...
You know what we'll do?
Not the same for you, is it? It's just
it's 10 years. It's 10 years since you were diagnosed with this. We'll do a camera test on you, and I'll be like, this ain't happening. This ain't happening next week. It's happening. next year. It ain't 10 years yet. I don't want that. No, it's bad. Yes, but you must be better at identifying what's going on with you. Like with me, I obviously know what's going on with me. What's killing me? Like, what happens to me is, so I wake up at let's say I wake up at 9 o'clock, right? I sort myself out, do whatever. Might take McGee on a quick walk with a bike. Take her on a ride on the bike or do something with McGee. Then I'll start cracking around on my computer. I'm looking at what I can make videos on. I'm looking at the shit I've got. Obviously, recently it's been like, what can I make for Overwatch? What can I do for this game? What games are coming out? What am I going to stream? While you're working through that, suddenly it gets to about 1 o'clock. Now, then it'd be like, okay, I'll just go and get something to eat. And then I'll come back and then I'll carry on doing my work and whatever. Then before I know it, it's stream time. Then I start getting ready to stream. Do the stream. The stream ends. Now, sometimes I'd have something to eat at about 5 o'clock, right? I've been making myself do this because I've been not eating before the stream and then it's been wrecking me. Sometimes I have something to eat at 5, sometimes I won't. So I'll just eat after the stream finishes at like 9 o'clock or something like that at night. But then from 9 till 2 or even 3 in some cases, what I'm doing is I'll either play games with you after 9 o'clock, which is fine, you know, but then it gets to like midnight and then I'm like, right, we'll come off TeamSpeak, whatever. I'll say, like, right, I'm out of here. I might come out of the shack, but I'm still on the iPad. And what I do is, I'm heavily addicted to. I don't know what this is, but whenever I think of an idea, I need to write it down immediately, and then I'll just start expanding on the ideas I'm writing down. So I've got I'm addicted to Google Docs, right? I am absolutely addicted to this shit because I used to be addicted to opening notepad files on my computer and just writing down loads of random shit. My Google Docs account is terrible because it's just loads and loads of Word documents. It's like all these crazy ideas for videos and how this would expand into a video, what footage I've got for it. And before I know, I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's like 3 o'clock, or most nights it's like 2:15, half 2. Right. And I put the iPad down and then I go to sleep. So the problem with this is I've got screen brightness on all the time in my face. And I wake up, so I'll have a bit of an headache because I've been staring into a screen. But I'm waking up at a time which is not enough sleep, and I'm like, Christ. But I kept doing this for a while. Now, what usually happens is what I get stuck into. It's almost like I'm in a night shift kind of sleeping pattern, almost like I'm missing the morning because I'm still a bit like zombified. But then I come to life, and then it's like whatever. It usually starts when I need to talk to somebody in the US or something has to be done, and I'm waiting around till like 1, half 1. And then they turn up because to them it's like 6 p.m. in the afternoon or something. And then I'm like, yeah, I do it. And then I'm like, whoa. And then the next day I sort of just carries on. So what I'm trying to do, honestly trying to do for my own sanity is I need to be better at telling myself when I've just got to have a break, which is what I did yesterday. So Wednesday, obviously watching this on Saturday. And, you know, that was fine. I've got a break again today, and I'll be fresh for streaming. So Thursday, and I'll be fresh for streaming on Friday, which you guys would already have seen, and then on Saturday and Sunday, and I'll be fresh for the rest of the stuff. But it's like I want to try and change the way I work with myself because I'm so crazy for just like right work. I don't really look at anything external outside of what I'm doing most of the time. When I got my mountain bike, it was like right, I'm doing something a bit different now. And my road bike, it's a bit different. It's still obviously it isn't like. It is enjoyment, but it's physical exertion. So you're still slamming yourself, and it's like, yeah, we're doing some fucking, you know, work or whatever, even though it is enjoyable. But like yesterday, I came off the computer at about it was about 6:30. That is unheard of. Yeah. And then I was on my iPad, and I went to bed at about 8 o'clock, I reckon, 7:30, 8 o'clock. Now you think about this. So, like 8 o'clock, that's 8. So then we've got 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. That's usually it would be 7 hours from that point would be when I go to bed. And when I started thinking of that, I was like, what? It becomes crazy, like how much time I'm just like. So what I'm trying to do is sort myself out. So I'm actually waking up at a normal time. I read a really interesting thing. This was on Reddit, but it was a link to a website. I forget what the website was. But it was about sleep patterns. It was from like sleep doctors. And they said, but the question was like, why do I feel like shit when I wake up in the morning? But when I've not had enough sleep, like why do I feel like absolute shit for hours and hours and hours and I've not had enough sleep? So like under 8 hours sleep. And apparently it's because your body goes into a power saving mode. So when you wake up, it knows you haven't had enough sleep. So it's like for the next 3 hours, you're just going to operate at not optimal. You're just going to be like tired because your body's saving power.
It's like everything's slowed down and you just like...
Yeah, and then it catches up after, you know, you start to kick in. So the way to fix this is to make sure you sleep properly. And believe it or not, humans are not nocturnal animals. We need to be awake in the day, which is why, again, but basically, after all this mad rant, what I want to do is try and make it so I'm waking up earlier, or maybe waking up at the same time. It doesn't really matter, but going to bed early is the big thing. I need to be asleep, before 12. Well, like 12 or 1, not like letting it get into crazy hours, because I think it catches up for a while with me after a while. And when I'm sitting here and I'm like, I think, what the hell? It's time to go to bed. But that's my fault for kippering myself doing it.
Yeah, the thing that's kind of got me about getting myself into like a run-down state, because it's not like I'm not ill like I was last year. Like I'm not gonna, you won't see this podcast and then I'll disappear for 6 months like I did before, because I was properly ill and like I didn't know what was happening. For me, it's like I've got really good at identifying stuff that happens during the day that before would have knocked me back and like made me worse or made me feel like really shit, and actually made it so that I ended up making myself ill. I managed to almost completely knock that out. That doesn't happen anymore. And if something does happen that's like properly catastrophic, I can look at it and go, yeah, no, I think I was probably reasonable to get upset about that. That's fair enough. Like when that dog attacked my dog, that pissed me off.
Yeah.
But that was like rightfully pissed off. It wasn't like I tripped on the curb and it ruined the day. That was a fucking dog attacked my dog and I had to wrestle the bastard thing. Anyone in the world would be like irritated at the very least by that, so that's fine. But before it was like, I don't know, I'd mess up something in a recording and I could edit it out, but it would still fuck me over. It'd be like, oh, fuck, I've completely screwed this, and then the video would never be good enough because I have to edit and all this kind of thing. That doesn't happen anymore. But for some reason, I've got really good at doing that, but I still haven't got the hang of like noticing a decline in, I guess, just in general healthiness. So, like, my mental health is absolutely fine in that I can just keep going and just be normal like anyone else would. But for some reason, I'm still not catching on to when, like, something is slipping. Why are you not doing
right
in general terms, which is really odd.
Dr. GG's in the house. Dr. GG has arrived.
Dr. GG.
He's going to tell you how it is.
It's terminal.
Office. Right. It is terminal.
GG says it's terminal.
Terminal wanker. He says, if some arse bandit on the internet is telling you that you need to sort yourself out and you don't even know, then Dr. GG has a fucking remedy for this. And it's called Dr. GG's I will write down when I fucking ate something. That's what it's called. So it's like, I've woke up and I have this book, I have this notepad file, I have this Google Doc file, and I write in it 8. And that's all I write. You can even put the letter 8.
See, I used to do that.
Well, you're doing it again. No, Dr. GG.
And then I stopped.
Says you're doing it again.
Because I was doing it normally, so I stopped doing it. And it was like, it's fine now.
No. Dr. GG says it must always happen. It doesn't happen.
Dr. GG.
It probably is like a thing, but not GG. It'd be like GE or something. The Dr. GG. And that will solve the issue. I've had to do things before. Yeah, it probably would. Like stupid little things like that. Because I know, like the only time I don't eat is when I consciously think, oh, fuck it, I'm carrying on. And then I do the terrible thing of having a massive dinner after, which ruins me. I shouldn't do that with a Crohn's.
In a way, that's kind of better because that's like a conscious decision. When it's just you go through like most of the day. I know
it's a conscious decision. It's just a dickhead decision.
Yeah, but then it's like at least you've made it. It's not like you've gone through like the entire day and then gone. I feel like
got
shit.
mental problems. Not.
Oh wait, hang on a minute. It's because I haven't eaten anything. Like an idiot. It's like. And the thing is, you can tell as well that it's like I don't do it over the weekend because my wife is home over the weekend. She's called Kat. So
wife's name's Kat.
I try to say both at the same time. She's home at the weekend. Obviously, she doesn't work weekends anymore. She used to, but now she's not allowed to because she'd be the only nurse there, and she's not allowed to be because she's pregnant. So they just say, no, go away. We don't want you anymore. But that means that when I get up in the morning, the first thing that she says is, your breakfast is on the side. And it should just be like, I will go into the kitchen, and I'm not leaving the kitchen until I've eaten. I'm hungry, so I eat it anyway, and it's not like I need to be told as such. It's like, it's there, I'll eat it. It's like in front of me, and it's like, okay, done. Lunchtime comes around, I'm having lunch. What do you want? Oh, I'm not hungry yet. Well, you're having lunch, so it doesn't matter. It's like, it's 12 o'clock, I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry.
Here you go, boys. He's a sexist wanker. Look at him. Get in the kitchen, woman, and make me bacon sandwich. That's what I
don't even have a choice. He's just like, I'm making this, eat it. Right. Okay, thanks.
Not right, this ain't modern. This is
also, I do cooking in the evenings. All of it. Every time.
Anyway,
maybe that's why I don't eat during the day. I can't be asked to do it 3 times a day. So it's just don't do it. It's like,
fucking retard. I don't understand.
You what, mate?
I don't understand how you can be hungry and just not eat. But then I ain't got a shithead brain. It does what I tell it to do. But it don't understand though sometimes. It doesn't understand. But Yeah. Right, moving on, ladies and gentlemen. So games we played this week. Now, we played quite a few.
Actually, have, yeah.
Well, let's talk about Black Ops because we played that.
We spent like a fucking... How long did we spend? It's got to be... well,
like an hour and a half. It's got to be
well over an hour.
Stupid like
just
that.
Fucking... Basically...
Listen. I'll give you the lowdown. We were supposed... I have been told that it's actually a fairly good Call of Duty game. As good as Call of Duty can be. But it has a very interesting zombies campaign in it, which can play co-op and all of this. So I said to Kiri, we should have a go of this. We can make some videos. And he's like, yeah, it sounds like a grand idea, old chap. So off we go to install the game. I'd already installed the game. I'd already ran the game. And I'd witnessed the menu screen. But I didn't play it at this point. In all its glory, after the Activision logos and everything were all forced upon me. And then the other day when we tried to play it, I was met with a black screen with just noise. And I'm like, now, at the very same time, in TeamSpeak, Kiri's like, what the fuck is this? I've got a black screen with just noise. And I'm like, what is going on? Last time I played this, it fucking worked. What the fuck is going on? So, we go to Google, don't we? And Google says, among all kinds of crazy suggestions that people clearly have no idea, and clearly there's randomly
my GoPro and it worked. That was a genuine solution.
Unplug your headset and plug it back in. It's like,
sadly, I don't own a GoPro, so I couldn't test that out for myself.
I did though, but it didn't work.
And also, was it even plugged in for you? Was it plugged in, or was it not plugged in?
No, it was just on the side.
Oh, in that case.
So they were saying, okay, first one, it's your graphics drivers. Make sure you update it to the latest one. I am. And then it was like, you don't have a config file in your players directory. So went there wasn't a config file. Doesn't matter. Here's a config file. Work. Then I edited the config file. Didn't work. Then I found somebody with a different config file. Didn't work. And I'm like, this doesn't work. Here he is trying the same. His doesn't work. People were like, it might be because you've got a sound card. It might be because you've got this. And I'm thinking, no, because I can hear the sound. Mr. Kirioth has got a completely different setup to me. He's got the same issue. The only thing that's similar is the fact that we've got an NVIDIA GPU, really. And it's like something has happened that causes the game to not display. And so we sat there, and I tweeted to you a picture of a black square, and I'm like, I'm playing Call of Duty, because that is it. We have not played the game. But
I did manage to get a Black Ops not responding box, so I tweeted it back. That's it. I only saw that twice. Everything else was just a black screen. It was terrible.
Yeah, but this isn't being widely reported. So it's got to be something that's wrong with us and not wrong with everybody, because it's not like there's thousands of posts going, or like Batman level. It's just like you'll see the thread on the Steam forums, and it'll be like 10 posts. Oh, mine ain't working, but what?
It's very rare though that we both have exactly the same issue with the game. We've had instances in the past where one of us has gone to record a game and it hasn't worked, and so the other one has had to do it because there's been some sort of graphical problem.
Usually what happens. But when the game doesn't display, sometimes it can be DX-Tory if you've got that open, which can stop it. So that was my immediate thought, but then I didn't even have it open. I was like, oh.
I had OBS multi-platform open, but I closed that. That's one of the first things I did. I was like, oh, well, sometimes. Because some games just throw a hissy fit. You've got capture software open, it just goes, oh, I don't like it.
I don't like you.
Absolutely didn't make any difference whatsoever. It was still just a black screen. And that fucking sound it makes every time it opens up is now burnt into my head, and I hate it. It's terrible. My only experience of Black Ops 3 is the noise that it makes when you first open it, and that noise
I'm gonna try and play it right now live on Pubcast. I'm gonna try and open it. Well, when Steam opens, and it won't work. It will just be a black screen.
It's meta, properly meta. Black Ops is just black. That's all it is.
It's gone to the next. It's so meta. It's meta that you meta, not meta. Believe it. It's fucking more meta than
you can't believe. It's not meta.
Meta. He's feta. Oh, it's fucking feta. So so we didn't play it because it didn't fucking work. And there comes. Well, I think I just stood up and I went, "Fuck this! I'm going out on my bike or something." And me and McGee just went up the woods. It was like, no, we went out again.
I went back to this shit. And I went back to the StarCraft 2 campaign and played that. Yeah, that's like, fuck shit. I'm not... Speaking of which, we have both played the StarCraft 2 campaign at this point.
Wait a minute, bloke. Here we go. Here we go. Here comes the live Let's Play Black Ops,
which you won't be able to see because it's not on the screen.
Hang on. It's downloading an update, bloke.
Oh, maybe it's a fix.
but it's an update of a size of 0 bytes.
Oh, maybe it's not a phase.
6 hours remaining.
I fucking verified the integrity of the game thingy. The what's its name? The thing you do whenever anything doesn't work on Steam.
Yeah.
Quite often that does fix issues. I've had multiple occasions where something hasn't worked. I've done that, and it's like, 5 files failed to validate, re-downloading, and then it's done it, and I've been like, awesome, it works now. Took half an hour. All files are absolutely fine, no problem. You're not missing anything. Great. Still doesn't work. I might have all the files, but the fucking files are broken, so I can't play the game.
Go play the game! Go play the game! Go play the game! You sound like fucking Athene again every time. Every
game!
Like, play some game! Like, Jesus Christ. Right, StarCraft 2 then. So Black Ops was a disaster, although mine's downloading a 0 byte update, and it's going to take 26 minutes. That leads me to believe it's downloading the entire game. 60-odd gig or something.
I believe it's 59 gig, 800 and something megabytes.
So we'll see. So maybe they've fixed it. I don't know. But StarCraft 2. StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Now, we spoke about this the other week, but we've both... Kiri's completed it, and I am like right at the end, because I'm a man and I play it on an idiot difficulty, so I have to like bash my head against the wall.
I'm Wood League. Played it on normal. Don't care.
Wood League.
Can I just say...
No, he's silver now, bloke. He's silver material.
Sorry, I'm Silver League. Still totally shit. Don't care. But I think let's be generous. Blizzard can't write stories for shit. They are.
I went on Twitter and I tweeted, bloke, and I was like, "Fucking hell, Christ alive, Blizzard! Can't you rip off GW's IP anymore? The 40k IP any more than this? Please, maybe write your own story." So I got the inevitable tweets back. But Games Workshop just rip other people off. And I'm thinking, right, okay, let's address this. So Games Workshop, the big thing with Marines, the big thing with drop pods, superhuman warrior soldiers, and all this shit. There was a book. In fact, there's a very famous film based on this, but the film's nothing like the book, called Starship Troopers, which came out in like the 50s or the 60s or something. And yeah, you can read that and say, all right, Marines are based on these guys. But that does not contain the warp. It doesn't contain the chaos gods, all of the additional lore. This is what we're talking about. So when you go and play StarCraft Legacy of the Void, you are met with, not to mention, like Protoss are Eldar. Terrans are
complete with Dark
Marines.
Eldar as well. It's worth pointing out as well.
Yeah.
Alaric,
Dark Eldar
MVP of the Legacy of the Void.
Tal'Darim.
Absolutely MVP. He is the best character. And
Zerg, who is Zerg? Who could Zerg possibly be?
Could it be the Tyranids?
Maybe. So anyway, like, okay,
with
we
a twist,
we get this.
With a twist, they do have like actual intelligent, sentient things leading them, whereas Tyranids still are pretty much just you've got like hive tyrants, and you've kind of got a little bit of intelligence leading them, but they are proper, like they're just like swarm organisms. There's not really an overriding kind of, you can't communicate with them. You can communicate with the Zerg to a degree, but even that is like just a little. It's just a tiny change. It doesn't really make that much of a difference because they still just infest planets and take them over and eat everything. So
then you get little tidbits, like you get a bit where Jim Raynor is like, Jesus hell, when these things ever going to let up? And then the Brood Mother is like, Jim Raynor, tenacity is very valuable in war, like, because it doesn't understand what he said, and he's like, oh hell, you don't understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, well, why is that in there? Because it's saying like it's communicating, but I don't understand. You know, anyway, so the campaign, okay, it's granted, whatever. We can say it's ripped off 40k. Who cares? I thought the campaign on the whole was pretty good. There may be some minor spoilers in this, but we're going to try and contain it. Although the game's been out for a few weeks now, so I'd imagine anybody who's going to play this single player have blasted through it.
It's not a very long campaign, so.
No, it's not. So it's similar format to the other ones, where you get like various upgrades to your units, and you get different units that you don't get in multiplayer and stuff like that, and crazy effects, which do change the gameplay in mental ways. Like you get the whole Spear of Adun and all its crazy powers it can blast down and all that shit, and you can decide which ones to take. So it's pretty good in that respect. You get to the end of the game, or what you think is the end of the game, the end of the campaign. So you do the prologue, then you do the main campaign, and the ending to me was, yeah, sure, it's predictable, but it was bad. It was really bad because it was just like, we have won, we have beat the evil guy, now we'll start a new civilization. Protoss are awesome. The end. Legacy of the Void. And I'm like, okay. So I sat back in my chair and I was like, well, I feel I enjoyed it, but that was a massive letdown. Then I noticed the little epilogue thing, and I'm like, what's this? What is this? Like extra missions I can do? And I'm thinking this is just going to be one mission, right? This is going to be like a 10-minute long mission of just nothing, because it's like nothing. I click on that. No, it actually turns out, and I won't spoil any of this, but it actually turns out there are three missions, and they are massive maps with massive, like they're the hardest missions. They're massive. They're going to take you ages to do if you're playing it on like harder difficulties, and they end the story. And I'm like,
also,
what?
Can I just say as well, like it's not a spoiler for the missions. All the way through the campaign, you are Protoss. Right, all the way through. That's what you are.
Yes.
The last fucking missions, the first one, you are still Protoss, but it completely changes the unit choices that you've made all the way through.
You just get given whatever.
So it's like, I'm summoning stuff in, I'm like, the fuck is this? I didn't pick this. It's because it's changed it to suit the mission, which in a way is okay, but some warning might be nice because I've got used to playing to doing it in a certain way, and then it's like, oh no, forget that. All the unit choices are different. Like,
well, I never had the warp gate, the Stargate and the robotics bay with warping on for me, and they came in with that, and I was like, where's some other shit? Like I kept using the lance beams from the fucking Spear of Doom, but that wasn't even there.
That was gone.
Like,
that was like the powers were different.
The auto
unit
repair
selection was completely different.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was because the auto repair only affects robotic units, and you could only summon robotic units, which is
it made sense because on the map, you were getting constantly damaged on the map.
It made sense, but at the same time, it just give it you, and it's like, there you go, and you're like, oh shit, what? Okay, fine. Then next mission on, it goes to Terran. I ain't played Terran since Wings of Liberty, right? I don't know how to play Terran. I barely know how to play fucking Protoss.
That was a really hard mission. That was you've got to defend 2 points into your base and then defend a Protoss base. But here's the thing: defend a Zerg base. You cannot build on fucking creep. So you can I'm playing it on hard. The two entrances by your base are not. You don't need that much defense there, so you can kind of handle that a little bit, but you still need quite a bit there. The Protoss base, you need fuck off defense there because it gets rammed with loads of shit. Like, we're talking like fucking 10 Ultralisks with a load of mutilated, like loads of shit constantly slamming into it.
I struggle
but then
with that
the Zerg base, the Zerg base gets it again. But you can't build defensive structures. So what I ended up with, like my massive army, was at the entrance to the Zerg base because I built my. Well, here's the kicker in the bollocks. I built my structures on the lower ground. I built like this defensive wall of like fucking 8 bunkers and like loads of shit and everything down there, and loads of SCVs to repair it, and it was holding. But the gas eventually covers it and just kills it, and I'm like.
It really. Honestly, that mission pissed me off because it was just like. Okay, you Terran, here's a bunch of undefendable shit, off you go. And there's an achievement for, like, don't let the ally bases get destroyed. I got that, but only by the skin of my teeth. Like, it was literally a case of the Nexus was being destroyed as the thing got to 100% and the cutscene kicked in. Even on normal. And I'm like, I know I'm not a very good StarCraft 2 player. I keep making a joke about it, it's just the truth, I'm just not very good at it. But for the game to suddenly go from Protoss, you get into a habit of how you play, don't you? In any game.
Yeah.
And then to just
it's a difficult game. It's not like easy,
And then to go, here's Terran, here's a really hard mission, here's overwhelming odds, off you go. And I'm just like...
It doesn't even really make sense as well. It should allow you to select which one you wanted to play, really. Because it says... Like, it's a whole Protoss campaign, and still really the Protoss are, like, in charge. You know what I mean? And then you've got, like... It came up on the loading screen. This is what sort of gave it away to me. It came up on the loading screen. It said at the bottom, Terrans are the best for defense. And I'm like, why is it telling me this? Terrans are the best for defense. And then when it loads in, it's like, Kerrigan's like, Jim, I'm going to need you to help me. And I'm thinking, isn't Artanis here? Yeah, he is. He's there on the fucking map with his base, but apparently he's an inept wanker now, so we've got to play Jimmy Rayner.
The thing as well. It's like, they are. Right, you've been playing Artanis all the way through. He is under your command, admittedly, like a tactical genius because he's fucking wrecked everything he's come into contact with. He's established bases on besieged planets and gone out and wrecked everybody. Artanis does not give a shit because you are controlling him. The second the AI gets hold of him, there's a massive Zerg, void army approaching. I'll stick down one photon cannon to Colossus. That'll deal with it. Are you serious? Are you fucking kidding me? Warp some shit in. What are you doing?
Friend Raynor, there is a massive Zerg force heading for my base, and you're like, well, deal with it then.
Deal with it. What am I doing here? Yeah, that mission really pissed me off because I was just like, I did better on the final mission where you play the Zerg. I did way better on that than the mission before. I just did. For a start, For a start, Zerg are, I think, in a way, quite unforgiving if you're a nab, because provided you get a couple of hatcheries down, you can
you just pump stuff.
Yeah, you can just pump stuff out, and because it had they had upgrades where your Zerglings appeared instantly. It was like, oh shit, my base is being attacked. A second later, there's like 60 Zerglings. And they may not be the best unit, but they'll take out anything that's attacking the base, and then you can either send them off to suicide or you can use them for something effective, whatever you want to do. With Terran, it's like, oh, there's a massive wave coming. Okay, let me just queue up 20 Marines and hope they get built in time and try and get my tanks over there. Oh shit, that hasn't got a tech reactor, so it can only build one. Oh god, I need some sort of air support, but that's going to take ages to build. It's just, oh Jesus.
I think
Christ.
Terran is the most difficult race in that game by far, from what I've seen. Zerg is very reactionary. You can, like, even in the multiplayer scene, you can like build whatever the hell you'd like. I mean, you've only got to see, like, towards the end of expansions, Terrans get murdered and they don't get anywhere because they're too hard to play. A good player playing Terran is a better player playing Protoss or Zerg. And it's, you just see at the end, it's like Zerg versus Protoss or Zerg or Protoss, you know, who the hell is going to win sort of thing. I mean, and then leading into the last mission, which I haven't completed, so I can't spoil this for you, but that, when it just, again, it's like, oh, there you go, by the way, Zerg. It's like, oh, I mean, I knew it was coming because it's just made us play Terran, so it's like, now you've got to play Zerg. And I think this is like from some weird need, because it's the last game in the series, to make everybody play as all the characters, because throughout the campaign, and I was kind of, when it first started off, it's like, oh, okay, so I think you meet Kerrigan, don't you, first? Or maybe it's Kerrigan and Jim, but you meet them really quick. And I'm like, okay, they're obviously going to be integral parts of the story because it's Jimmy Rayner and Kerrigan. So, but you just see them there and then never again in the campaign. And I'm like, what? Like, I was expecting them to show up, and it's like they didn't. And I think that they were like, right, okay, end of the game, everybody is now magically together after. I mean, this is a bit of a spoiler, so just hold your ears for like a minute or so. So at the end of the game, you go to take Aya back with a unified Protoss force. There isn't Jimmy Rayner, there isn't the Zerg. It's just Protoss. It's Teldarine Protoss. It's every Protoss faction, the Purifiers, because you've gone round as Artanis and unified all the Protoss. Because look, guys, let's be friends again. We don't have to, we might be different, but we got to understand differences. You know, all random spiel crap, and then we'll go down and take the planet. There's no Jimmy Rayner there for the apparently final victory against fucking Eamon Holmes or any of that shit, or the Zerg. But then it's like, oh, by the way, we've got these 3 extra missions where they appear now, and we're all going in for the war, and it's like, I was not happy with the way they ended that game. The way they broke it up was weird to me at the end. Yeah, and like you said, a major frustration is the way they just changed your army, and we're like, and even the upgrades you had.
I felt exactly the same way, because it was like they turn up. It's like, okay, these are my old friends. We must fight this threat together. But I'm not going to see you for the next 8 missions. And then you're going to think that the game's ended. But you had nothing to do with it. Well, all right. I don't know what the fuck they were doing whilst we were off fighting the Dark God, or whatever he was called.
What was the point of saving the platform above the Terran Dominion homeworld? Because that's one of the missions.
I thought that was like, okay, we've defeated the threat. Jimmy's going to help us. Didn't fucking show up. He was just like, I don't know what the fuck he was doing. But suddenly, as soon as you've done all the hard work, and him and Kerrigan have finished doing whatever the fuck they were doing, which is never explained, by the way. It's never pointed out. No. It's just like you meet up with them and then you piss off. You unify all the Protoss. You fight this massive threat to the fucking universe, and your mates are nowhere to be seen until after he's gone. Then it's like, oh, right, Artanis, how's it going? Well, it's doing great, but I could have used with your help, when we were attacking the fucking minions of the Void or whatever. But no, it's fine. It's all right. You can turn up now. It's typical Blizzard writing, where it's like, you've got the heroes, and the heroes must come together to face the final threat.
Yeah, and it's always one big super threat, and it's like it's a threat against everything. It's always the same.
Already faced you never the final get fucking threat, and they weren't there. So why have they turned up to do it? It's like, it just. You never get really this ham-fisted. They're really obvious and ham-fisted.
Childish, isn't it? In a lot of ways, because you don't get like these complex stories being played out. Like you've just got all you've got is you did with StarCraft 1. You had these complex stories between the Protoss, the Zerg, and the Protoss turn up and just start killing Terran worlds, and the Terrans like, what the fuck is going on here? And then they start fighting them because they're only killing them because they're infested with Zerg, and they're like, what the fuck? You get all of this going on. But now it's just like Protoss. Yeah, we may have killed billions of humans, but we'll just be friends. You've got Jimmy Rayner. who is like, we'll just be friends. You know, the Terrans have killed loads of Protoss and Zerg, and you've got Kerrigan, who is Terran, but now controls the Zerg because the Overmind's dead, and she's just like, I am a massive murderer. She just referenced this a few times and say, well, what I've done is quite bad, but hey, it's fine. So they're like, yeah, it's fine. And you've got a lot of this like, oh, let's just forget and let's all be friends. And it's very childish to think that intergalactic politics on that scale would just be controlled by 3 people who are just like, yeah, okay, let's do this. Maybe in the Protoss sense, okay. The human sense, no, you would just not have Jimmy Rayner. He's not a politician. Jimmy Rayner is a fucking rebel. He is not the man in charge. Yeah. He's not like, right, boys, I'm in charge of these billions of Terrans and our massive armies. And to me, I'm sitting there like, this is just so like you said, it's so busy. It's so like, we're all friends now.
Once you finish the final mission of the epilogue missions, you will.
I haven't.
You will palm your face so hard it might come out the back of your head.
I think I know what's going to happen. To be fair, but
like a bullshit happily ever after part of the end of that story that it's not like a proper cutscene type thing. It's like part animated and part drawn. And I watched it, and I was just sitting here by myself. There's no one else here, and I actually went. Like, that was my reaction to seeing it, just out loud. I was just like, are you really? Who the fuck wrote this? Who wrote this?
How many times have they done this as well? You look at Warcraft, look at WoW. So you've got like when Deathwing showed up, the big bad enemy. You've got admittedly, I think original WoW. I know it had like the what's his face, the Molten Core Man, and all of that shit. But they weren't like. Well, I guess they kind of were threats to the world, but it wasn't like, this is big bad enemy. The Lich King obviously was a great character because he was built over multiple games, and he was this guy who was not like, he's a threat to the world, but he's not like all powerful. He can just blow the world up kind of powerful. He's just a threat, and everybody has to get together to fight against him. That was good. And then he ended. Then it's like Blizzard just throw out a Deathwing out of nowhere. But he kind of is part of the lore, but they throw him out like, ooh, and then they sort of do it. They keep doing it over and over again. But the enemy is always this guy who is so powerful he can destroy everything.
Only the power of everybody together.
Yeah,
and coming together as one. And it's. Like,
there's a lot of messages. It's like we might have different backgrounds, but we can come together because it's a common threat. And I don't know whether this is because it's like.
You know what?
Is it an Americanism in like fairy tales? It's kind of like this is our parable, and we promote friendship, and it doesn't matter how different we are. We're going to be friends. I'm sorry, the game's called World of Warcraft. It is a Horde and Alliance are not evil. The Horde isn't evil. The Alliance isn't good. They're just different. They should be at war with each other. They should not be. Look at Legion. Legion now is just a fucking. Oh no, the Burning Legion are back. Everybody must get together. Look at the cinematic. It's fucking varying whatever his faces with Undead Woman. They don't Undead Woman. She's undead. Undead butchered his entire fucking. What happened to Lordaeron? You know what I mean? It's like, but that now with chums.
This is why I really liked Alarak in Legacy of the Void. He was the best character.
I know. I
keep
he was by far
the funniest and the most.
Do you know who
interesting.
David Kim is? Do you know who David Kim is?
No.
He's the lead, like the lead on StarCraft 2, basically.
Right.
Well, he's like the lead, like balance guy, but he's like heavily involved in StarCraft 2. He said Alarak is the best character in the game. He just said he's the best character that they made for StarCraft 2. He really is.
I absolutely agree because in all of this stuff of like. We must unify to defeat this threat. Alarak turns up and he's like, our god is a fucking liar. He is not going to turn us into superhuman warriors. He's talking shit. So I want to take over the rule of my people by murdering the current ruler, and then I'm going to fucking kill the dark god. Do you want to give me a hand? And it's like, this guy's solid. And all the time that they're all talking about, how we've got to stick together and how, we may die doing this, and Alarak's just like, you might die, I ain't dying, I'm gonna kill him. I'm just gonna kill him. When he's talking about fighting people and he's like, I have seen what is it I have seen myself deliver the killing blow in 1,000 ways in my mind's eye or something. I'm like, yes, finally someone in this game who is he? Like just a goody two they're all fucking goody two shoes. Even Kerrigan is like, she's a butcherer of planets. She has wrecked countless stuff. She's absolutely destroyed lives, worlds, entire systems. She behaves like a badass, and then every 5 minutes she goes, I've done terrible things. I must atone for my sins. But then Alarak turns up, and he's like, I'm going to wreck some shit. I'm going to wreck some shit. You're going to do as I say, or I'm going to wreck you as well. And you're like, yes, finally.
He's such an un-Blizzard character, but like, I mean, he was by far the best character. When the thing with him, which was pretty good, I thought, is he'd have like little jibes at people. Not when he was like, yeah. Obviously when he's involved in the story and you're talking to him on the bridge and whatever, and he's like when you walk back to the bridge, he's like, you've arrived finally. What are you doing, wasting time? Like, and he's sort of having a go at you, sort of thing, before you even talk to him. But like when you're going through missions with him, the thing that made me laugh is on one mission, you have to like support him doing something, and he's like, Artanis, send me your slaves. And Artanis is like, how dare you? They're not slaves. And he's like, and he's just laughing at him like, fuck you, send me the slaves. It's so funny.
And when they're talking about hope and stuff, and he's like, hope is a lie taught to the weak.
and the children.
Like, yeah. He's just, I think he's the best. I think he's the best character because he is not, in a way, he is one-dimensional, in a way, because it's like, he's there for revenge. That's what he's there for.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the fact that he's there for revenge and not out of some kind of sense of justice, like for Artanis and for Jimmy Rayner and for Kerrigan, it's like, oh, my people, oh, you've killed my people deserve better, oh, my people this, my people that. For Alarak, it's not, he doesn't give a shit that Aemon lied to his people. He gives a shit that Aemon lied to him. It's a personal affront. It's like,
and
I served this guy,
by? I thought I've heard the guy's voice. It's fucking Q from Star Trek. yeah.
I could not place it.
Yeah.
But it's like, he's there. He is there because he has been personally betrayed. And the only reason he has got the Tal'Darim involved is because he needs them to sacrifice their lives so that he personally can fuck up Aemon. That's what he's there for. And that makes him so much more interesting than all the others, because all the others, it's for justice, for my peoples. And Alarak is just like, this guy lied to me, and I do not like people who lie to me, so I'm going to kill him. And this lot need to help me kill him. Because I need Googled fodder, so I need to kill him. And it's like, more of this guy, more of this guy. Send me your slaves. It's like,
yes, send me your slaves. I googled Alarak StarCraft 2, and there's the Alarak fan club, and there's like, I love Alarak, the best character ever, and all this shit. And then you got like the quotes, like this was another one when you walk back to the bridge, and he says like, game, I was enjoying the solitude. It's like, what? You're on my ship. And then this other one here, when Artanis says to him, do you think we are fools? And he just says, yes, but that's irrelevant. Back to him. I mean,
I think as well, amazing. He has such a really, he has such like a sense of, he knows that it's like he knows he's stronger than everyone there. And he is. He is undeniably
it's that scene where he just wrecks the Dark Protoss woman. It's just like, go away.
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit. He's like, weak, whatever. And you know that he's massively powerful. You know what he's there for. And when you see him on the bridge before you go onto his planet to help him with his right, and like he is standing there, and he's just like, he's got void energy, like all around him. And he's like holding it in his hand and he's looking into it, and it's like he's looking into different futures. I saw it and I was like, this guy is fucking hardcore. This is quality. This is none of that prophecy shit that Zeratul came up with. It was like, I have read the prophecy on the ancient stone of blah blah blah. Instead, Alaric's just like staring into Blizzard's version of the warp and going, yeah, I can kill this guy in 1,000 different ways. Awesome. And it's like, can I control Alarak? Can we have just a Tal'Darim campaign where we just go mental and fucking butcher everybody? I would love to see more of that character. And it pisses me off because we're never going to see him again. I know we're not. He's not going to turn up. He's just not, because Tal'Darim, they need to have like an evil bit of Protoss to give some sort of conflict to the whole series when it comes to the Protoss themselves. So it's just like,
at the end, he was just not even included, was he?
Where was he? He didn't even get. This is the other thing as well. Spoilers. When I wave my hands, I've stopped talking about spoilers. He talks about how he wants the revenge. He wants revenge. He's been lied to by Aemon. He wants to fuck him up. He wants to kill him. He wants to just. He wants rid. He is there to just destroy the guy. They destroy his physical form. Great. Okay. Banished him back to the void. Now Alarak knows about the void. He can look into the void. He has control of void
gas
power.
Is from the void, which is what he bathes himself
and he can stand there and peer into the void and get void energy directly into him, as he does on the bridge of the Spear of Adun. So we can assume that he's got access to it anywhere. He's just that powerful. He must therefore know that Amon is not gone if he's in the void. So why the fuck do they banish his body and he just goes, all right, we're done? He knows that's not true. He knows that's not right. He knows what Amon is, how he exists, where he exists, and what power he gets from the void. So why wasn't he there at the end, going into the void with you to fight him and kill him? Why wasn't he there? Like, that character's development was, I want to butcher him, and then he just, after the last mission, you see him in the last mission, you never see him again. He's just not there. It's just like nothing. It's just, who? Who's Alarak?
I mean, the Tal'Darim are in the other StarCraft. Well, in StarCraft 2. I don't think they're in StarCraft 1. I don't think they are. And they're just seen as, they're just bad Protoss. They're exactly the same as you, but they're bad. And that's all you know. And there's missions where you have to do the gas.
Why they're bad either.
No, it's just like typical. They're bad, evil Protoss. Dark Templar, evil Protoss. No, they don't understand the way it works. The fact that you get Dark Templar is retarded anyway, or it should have been up until now, because they're a different. They reject the collar or the collar or whatever they call it. Basically their fucking psi network. They reject that. They cut their nerve things off the back of their head. That's part of their ritual. That's why the normal Protoss don't like them. In this one, it's like, okay, they explain all that to you. They then reconcile that problem. Then the Tal'Darim are actually, they're just Protoss who are like more battle inclined, more like they place.
They're like the Klingons of the Protoss.
Yeah. They like the way you progress in their society by killing the guy above you, which is exactly what the Klingons do.
Yeah,
that's how you do it. Like, whereas the normal Protoss, they're like, they're all about learning and advancement like that. They're sort of like the hoity-toity lot. They're not the fucking murderers, although they can murder if they need to and all this shit. But they explain that to you as the Tal'Darim. They put their leader forward in this guy, Alarak, who just embodies all of that. He's just a guy who's he wants revenge. Nobody can take me on. I'm so powerful. You're a slave to me. I'll bend you to my will. Like, there's lines where, like, Artanis says things like, how do you think your people will feel after the what we've just done? And he's like, it matters not what the people feel. They'll feel what I allow them to feel, or something like that. It just matters not. Like, so, well, fuck them. They'll do as they're told, and that's exactly how he is. But then you've got Artanis, who's like preaching the whole tolerance of all these different societies, which maybe has got more, a relevant thing in the real world right now, especially what's going on with Syria and all that stuff. It's like, let's be tolerant. We might be different, but we're still all Protoss. We can all get along, and it's like it's too lovey-dovey. Even at the point I got to, where it's all like, everyone's friends now, even though we've committed these unspeakable atrocities against each other. I mean, really, the fucking Terrans have been robbed the most in all of this. I know, like their emperor never was a dickhead, but the Protoss turned up and started annihilating them. The Zerg were annihilating them. They just defended themselves.
Yeah. It's just clumsy, isn't it? It's just clumsy and ham-fisted, and it's frustrating because it sounds like we're trashing the campaign, but we're not really trashing the campaign because the campaign is fun, it's enjoyable, but the characters aren't really there. They're not that great, and the story isn't that great. Like the gameplay is fun, the missions are fun, the way it's structured is fun, but the overall story is just a bit poor. And the characters are very one-dimensional, and there's not anything to them, which is why Alarak is such a breath of fresh air. Because it's
totally, I agree.
Oh, this guy is nothing like. Because this is the other thing as well. When every character has the same base values and the same root beliefs, it gets boring because they're just homogenous. They're all the same. There's no excitement to seeing a group of people sit there and go, "Yes, we must do this. I absolutely agree. We'll do that." That's not interesting to listen to. That's really shit to listen to. It's like, okay, so we're going over there because he says so, and we all believe it'd be the best thing.
I forget what her name is, but the Dark Templar, she just instantly agrees with everything.
Yeah,
he says, she just agrees with everything he says, and it's like weird.
That pisses me off.
Another quote here from Alarak where this is during when this is when Artanis. I think they're all talking together, and Artanis is going on about we're going to win our freedom back and all this shit, and Alarak's just like, freedom is a delusion given to the weak by the strong. That's all he says in the conversation. And it's like, well, it is. Because what freedom do you really have? You know what I mean? And that's deep. And it's like, well, okay, you could have really, that's the sort of thing you could have gone real deep. Because what freedom do we really have? We might think we're free in the West, but are we? You know what I mean? Are we? Oh my God!
But everyone else around the table just goes, "Yeah, no, that sounds good. That sounds fine." Especially with Vorazuma, it's like they've had this massive rivalry for ages. But Artanis is like, Artanis just turns up, and it's just like, oh yeah, so the Templar have been persecuting the Dark Templar for years and years, and we've hated each other, and it's just been terrible. But you want to unify everyone? Okay, fine, no problem. Do that. No worries. Whatever. It's just, you fucking
Borazon.
What?
Or Borazun. The Zerga are greatest opponents. Only a fool will underestimate them. Alarak. Then I shall defer to you as the fool. Which I believe he says on one of the missions.
We're back, except you wouldn't have noticed anything, but I edited it. But actually, there was no way that would have been edited smoothly to make it look like nothing had happened. Basically, my internet connection dropped. But there was no way it would have been done. I don't even know how I'd managed to cut it like dead on. We'd have to both have stopped in exactly the same position.
Yeah.
And but that would have required you knowing that my net was going to go down in advance and adopting a pose and then keeping it until it came back.
I would have had to have looked into the void, bloke, to get some information.
And seen yourself delivering the killing blow in 1,000 different ways.
I don't know what I was saying there before it ended. I said a quote from Alarak about freedom is a gift of the weak, and then we kind of spoke about that a little bit, and it's like...
your net. Every now and again, your webcam may disappear, and instead there'll be an advert for Specsavers. So that'll be nice.
Well,
I mean,
glasses.
I
think Microsoft's trying to monetize Skype more. Like, I keep getting adverts for random shit. Like the other day, I was like, "Yeah, look at this, Kiri. I've got a fucking thing for GCHQ," and I tweeted it.
Oh yeah. Well, then,
a couple of days ago, I got one for asbestos removal. I'm like, right, okay. Then I got one for a heavy-duty warehouse crane. I'm like, what?
This is in case you've got massive stacks of asbestos that need removing. You need a massive crane to get them out.
And then I got one for line painting on roads. Like the white lines on roads. Talk about targeted advertising. I mean, I really
Are there
need
a lot
that.
of private roads that need line painting? Because I don't think
there is. Very specialist.
Are you just hoping that you'll advertise to the local, like, county council road planning officer or something when you put that advert on Skype? Who the fuck else needs that in this country? It's all public, isn't it? It's all public funded roads. It's not
government shit. Yeah. No.
Maybe they're in GCHQ that they've already advertised sees the road line people and then recommends it to his mate who's in the planning office. What a convoluted way to get business. That's probably not why they're doing it. What else? I think we've probably killed StarCraft 2's story enough at this point. What else have you been playing?
So I played. My monitor's gone funny. Well, obviously I played Overwatch, but I always talk about Overwatch.
It's still good, basically.
Yeah. Well, I'll touch a little bit on it. I made a video where I said it was a stressful weekend because the open beta had happened, and it was stressful because it was a massive flood of people who just want to play characters. They were just exactly as we were when we first got the game. I don't care about what's happening. I'm just going to play Tracer, and that's fine. But when you've got people who have played the game like us mixed in with these guys, you just get really pissed. You get salty because you're like, really, guys, we don't need 3 Tracers. But you don't say that, but you're like, okay. But it was interesting to see how quick the rage sort of starts building. But I made a video and I spoke about this, saying, look, it was stressful, and I was trying to say to people, look, Tracer isn't OP, Bastion isn't OP. Listen, I've got more experience than you. But as was pointed out in the comments, did come across a little bit condescending, where it's like, listen, I'm better than you, so listen to me. So I think what I'm going to do is make another video, and I'm going to base this on, like, there was a lot of talk about elitism, so it probably called something like Overwatch Elite or something ridiculous, but like about... I wasn't trying to be elitist. I was just trying to say this is a game which has got a meta, and the meta is going to change rapidly. And in fact, the meta will change in the game.
Yeah. Because
League of Legends is a good example for this, and so is Dota. You cannot change your heroes once you're in the game. So whatever team plays against whatever team is what will happen for the next hour or however long the game goes. In Overwatch, you can just change that as soon as you die. You can change it within minutes of the game. You could change it. You could run out the spawn, attack people who think this ain't working, run back into the spawn, change your hero, and run back out. That's how dynamic this game is.
Yeah.
So I wasn't trying to be like, hey, I'm better than you. I was just trying to explain to people how the game is different and how after a while, once you get more experience with the game yourself, you'll realize that Tracer isn't OP. I mean, hell, we spoke about Genji on the quite long video we did.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with Genji kind of okay now. With certain people, Zyra is really good for killing Genji because he just dies. When he comes after you, it's like, goodbye.
Yeah.
You know, and so there are ways of dealing with them. And after a while, you do sort of, get familiar with how to play against them. But yeah, I've played Overwatch this week, not as much as I played it last week because I was busy with stuff that was going on, other work sometimes I need to do. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to continue to play it. I don't think it's going to be a game I'm just going to stop playing because I'm so like. I really enjoy that game, and even like when I've been playing, I played it this morning before we even started doing all these podcasts. I got a game in, took maybe 19 minutes, I think, for both. Lost the first game on attack, won the second game. I mean, when me and you played after the beta weekend had happened, the quality of the games drastically went up, and it's not because the players are better. It's just because it's like, look at the team compositions. People are picking team compositions. Whether they know it or not, they're doing it, and the games are way more involved. It isn't just like, oh, the game's ended dead quick because that team's got 4 tracers and we've just butchered them all.
Yeah.
It's much more meta.
I'm still really enjoying it. I did kind of wonder whether I'd kind of get to like almost the saturation point where, despite how much I liked it, I'd be like, I think I've had enough. I still haven't had enough, which is. I still think it's massively impressive for a game like that because I am just not the type of player that would normally play that kind of game, and yet I can't get enough of it. I still want to play it.
Yeah. All right then, H1Z1. Whoa! I didn't want to talk about it, bloke. So I streamed it. Now, I smashed the shit out of this game in a video in like January, the start of this year, and I was like, I played the game, and I noticed you could buy airdrop. And I bought an airdrop, and it dropped down to the floor because I had a shitload of money in my account. I still do. I've got like about 30 quid in that account because I was playing PlanetSide 2 like a filthy. And I think I was buying, station cash, but I think it's changed to Daybreak dollars or whatever the fuck they call it now.
Daybreak dollars.
Every now and again, they do a triple deal. So you buy 1 point and you get 3 times the amount. So for 1, you get 3. Well, this is great because it's meant if you spent a tenner, you get 30 quid's worth of the shit. And it's like, wow, you could use it for customization before PlanetSide 2 went downhill and started selling you actual weapons that were better than what you could get. But back in those days, like I had like ornaments and shit on my tanks and everything. You probably remember it. Like you could have like a skull and everything. It looked pretty nice. And it was like that was a good idea for monetization. Clearly didn't make them enough money. That's why they went down the route they did. Anyway, I bought a airdrop and it had a gun in it, and this was back when H1Z1 was a survival zombie game against other players. So being able to buy a gun was really good. In fact, it was massively OP. I made a video, all the haters come after me. They still do even to this day and slam me for it. So there must be something going on with the game. Why are the haters still there? I noticed it's quite popular on Twitch. I'm like, I'll give it a go. So I did give it a go, Mr. Kirioth.
I was there for this.
I
watched it. It was amazing.
Most people were there. And I played the game for about 4 hours probably. And yeah, I played Battle Royale because zombie survival is just not a thing. It is, but nobody plays it.
No, it's not a zombie survival game.
There's no zombies in there anymore. No. So if anyone's played Battle Royale, they'll know what this is about, where you've got like, you start on the map, you parachute in randomly if you played the armor mods, and then the map gets smaller and smaller and smaller until you're all forced together, whoever's left to kill each other, and the last man standing wins the game. There is a lobby system in this game. When you click join game, with the world's worst UI, it looks so cheap, like really cheap, like it's been made in paint. It looks like something I made when I was in college in Visual Basic or something.
It looks like the shit that I get sent for Steam Gift Gamble. Is what it looks like.
It looks like what I made when I had to make it a system which would print out what was it? Invoices for like when people ordered booked tickets in a. Do you remember doing this? We had to make like a layout for like a cinema or something, and then a system for booking, and then it'd print out the ticket. Oh my god, it was the worst. It looked like that. It looked like arse wrapped up in tit. It looked shit, right? That's what it looked like. Anyway, I click it and it's like NA. I'm like, no, I'm EU. Why doesn't it automatically put me as EU? All right, so change to EU. Went into the game. Puts me into a lobby with hundreds of other people. running around in this big square with big scoreboards that some of them worked, but others said information coming soon. Everybody, and I mean everybody, is blasting dubstep, is blasting all kinds of shit through their microphones. It felt just like playing some sort of Gary's mod or something, where you've just got idiots everywhere and everyone's blasting shit and it's just like a total disaster. People screaming and shouting down the mics. The mics are the worst quality, and I'm like, wow, I found a place that it's Reddit or Tumblr.
See, I just said it's 4chan.
And I'm like,
I just said it's 4chan.
Well, yeah, 4chan's probably more accurate, yeah, because it's the spamming of memes and shit, ain't it, non-stop.
That's why I once
Tumblr
looked
and
at
4chan, not so much Reddit. That's a bit harsh on Reddit.
Yeah, I once looked at Prop Hunt on Gary's mod to see if that'd be worth doing a video on, because it seemed like a funny idea. Absolutely impossible on any sort of public server, because I think I even said in the chat for the stream, I was like, this seems like the same as Prop Hunt. It's just
this is what I mean with the Gary's mod, yeah.
meme spouting, screaming idiots with shit microphones blasting as much like offensive bullshit as they possibly can because it's for the lulz lol. And the number of people are like, yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much exactly what it is.
It was
bad.
It killed me. Anyway, the game would then just start, right? You wouldn't have no like notification. Well, I think it did count down actually, so that's not fair. And then suddenly you're in the air in a parachute, and then you've got to get your parachute to the ground. There are guns everywhere. If you get the assault rifles, it looks like you just sort of win. Like there's pistols and everything, so you can sort of defend yourself. You run around, grab guns. You either die instantly because you've dropped in a place where there's loads of other people who are dropping at the same time, or you're the guy who spawned miles away, and then you don't die, and you run for like half an hour until the very end of the game. This happened to me twice, where I lasted till the very smallest zone, like where it was like not even a mile square or whatever, and then I just died because I didn't have a car, which seemed to be the way to do it. I mean, I got killed. Like, when a game is so absolutely disgustingly cheap, there are ways you die where if you're a gamer, you don't expect to die like this. So there was a guy coming towards me in his Jeep, and I seen him, and I started firing at him because he's driving towards me, thinking I'll probably hit him, do something to him. He fucking rides up to me in the Jeep, gets out the Jeep at full speed. The Jeep just flies off. But as he gets out, he's just standing up, isn't he, straight? Like, there's no movement. It just rails me with his gun instantly with his assault rifle. And I'm like, what? I was shooting him. The chat then pointed out to me, you can't hurt people when they're in vehicles. So that's why he was in a vehicle. You can damage the vehicle and you'll have to get out of it, but you can't hurt the person. So, but the fact he just stood out of it, I just totally did, and then just killed me. I was like, wow, right? It is just really terrible and shit. And people will be like, well, it's early access. Yeah, but it's never going to get any better than this because it doesn't have to, because it's already making sales and it doesn't have to. It's really shit, bloke. It really is really shit. And it falls into one of these categories of games where you play it if you're, as you say, a 4chan reprobate or somebody who just likes pissing around on Prop Hunt or whatever. You'll play it for that because you control people like lol, mad trolls, whatever. You play it if you're a streamer because people will watch you play it because it's so disastrously shit. It's funny to watch somebody play a game that's really broke and then for them to get unit robbed all the time. And it's like, well, yeah, that's funny. And that's kind of it, really. I mean, if me and you played this together, we would be so frustrated because there are like double and like triple survivor mode where you're in like a little team, you have to survive together, which is probably funny if you're streaming it with other streamers or whatever. But if you're playing it on yourself, the overwhelming feeling of being robbed by the game, and not even that, right? I mean, running around, they've got one tree model, it looks like, that they've just pasted everywhere, which has got lower branches cut off, like pruned off. Why would they all be pruned off? It's like, it makes no sense. There's a bit where there's a road by a dam, and you can look under the road like this and just see into the void. Like, it's off the ground. They haven't even bothered to just push it down. And to me, that's like, that don't seem that hard to do. Like, the world editor tool.
No, it's like the worst kind of. It's like a Unity asset flip game, but it's not actually a Unity asset flip game. It's a
£15 game. Although it was on sale recently, but yeah.
This is the big problem I have with like H1Z1, DayZ, all of these like early access titles that have been in early access for God knows how long, that have never improved. They've never got any better. Never. Not once. And it's always because, well, why would we bother? People keep buying this shit. People keep buying it, so why change it? We'll just release some low quality piece of gash and it's fine.
Well, Daisy hasn't changed, really. I mean, you could say Daisy's gone backward because it's like some features that were in the mod are not even in the standalone release. H1Z1 though started off wanting to take that bit of the pie, because they were like, yeah, right, what we're going to do is make a game that works, because they knew they had an engine in the Forge Light engines, or the Planet Side 2 engine, that will work. So it will work straight away. It will not be this fucking 1 FPS disaster show.
Yeah.
Forge Light, not the best. I mean, Planet Side still suffers some performance issues and whatever, but this is a game you can easily play at 60, 70 FPS or whatever, and you'll be happy. DayZ is not. It just kills you because the engine was shit and all of that crap.
Yeah.
So they were like, okay, we'll beat them at that. Then we'll build a big world, and then we'll do microtransactions, and it'll be great, and we'll do the servers, so we know everyone's got a server and all that shit. And then they tried, I think, to monetize it a bit too aggressively. So you got people like me making videos. I think they obviously suffered from that.
Yeah.
But while this was all going on, they hired the guy from who made the Arma Battle Royale mod, and they had him working on the Battle Royale mode, which actually was available to begin with when I played the game, but you had to pay to get into it.
Yeah, you had to pay for
you
a
had to buy a ticket. Yeah, which was like the price of a key, you know, like on Steam to open a crate or something. So it's like £1.50 or something to get into this game mode, which seems a bit ridiculous. Obviously, they noticed that this was fairly popular, even though they were charging for it, and that their zombie portion of the game was difficult to maintain. Because if you think about it this way, right, if you're a multiplayer game with a couple of, let's say, 50 people, so 50 players, yeah, but then thousands of zombies, you have to relay to every one of these players the position of all these zombies all the time. Because when you come into an area with the zombies and they move around because of your actions, you've then got to relay that back to all the other players. So this must be a networking disaster and a nightmare. This is why DayZ zombies are shit, and nobody can work it out, and whatever the hell's going on. So let's just try Battle Royale, but let's make it free. And that is why the game is so popular. It's one of the highest played games on Steam and everything, because people are buying it and getting into it, and it's this trollolol, mad trollolol run around. The only redeeming feature to it, and this, but you get this with DayZ and other types of survival games like this, whereas at the very end, it does feel really tense. Like, I managed to get there twice out of maybe 10 attempts, and it's like, okay, I've got all the guns, I've got everything I need, and it's me against these guys, and we're in the trees, we don't know where each other are, and we've got to kill each other. And I killed one guy, killed another guy, and then got shot by a guy. It's like, whoa, that was really tense.
Yeah.
But all the lead up to it, the really fucking diabolically designed lobby, the diabolically designed the way you actually spawn into the world. I mean, when you first spawn into the world, do you know what happens? You're on the ground, and then suddenly you're in the air, coming down. It's like it spawns you in the world, then put you in the air. You know, and it's like really shit. The weapons feel like shit. The game looks like shit, even though it's using a Planet Side engine.
This is the thing, though. It's like they have
identified.
In a way, they've evolved the game past what it was going to be to begin with, because it's, you know, it started out as zombie survival. Now it's not really zombie survival at all. It's a battle royale game. In that respect, yeah, the game's different, but the overall quality of the game ain't different. The overall quality of the game is still as shit as it was the day it launched, and it was pretty shit. And it's the same with. I mean, I know there's plenty of people who love DayZ and they play it for hours and hours and hours, and you know they're addicted to it and whatever. It's not any better. Like, if you go to the Steam forums, if you go to the subreddit and stuff, people will complain about stuff that they've been complaining about since like the minute the standalone version launched into early access, and it's not changed. And it's like, I don't understand how people can look at something that is in no way progressing past what the initial point of the game was in the case of H1Z1 and go, yeah, I'll support that. No, don't. They're not doing anything. They're just milking it, and
it's just so accessible. Like in this genre, H1Z1, you buy the game, you click play, and then you're in the lobby. Yeah. And if you're of a mind where you think that's funny, screaming and shouting at people, and then you get into the game, you're in the game straight away. You don't really have to do anything. And in a way, that's clever of them to do it, but it's just dirty. That's the way I feel about this. It's this very like underhand way of, we're going to give them what they want in a really shit way because we know it's going to make us money. And then, that's what we're going to do. Oh, look what's making us money now. And, you know, there was guys running around with like really weird like thongs on and all kinds of shit, like just so they look totally outrageous. That has to be microtransaction stuff. It's got to be. Yeah. You get crates or bags or whatever. I noticed I got a couple of these bags, which I'm guessing you have to pay for a key to open it up, and it might have some of the loot in, and it's like great. And then you can customize your character, and it's like, it's just shit. Like, I'm sorry if you like the game, guys, you like it, but to me, it's just half-assed, cash-grabbing, money bag shit, and I will never play it again unless it was for some sort of stupid reason. But there's just no way I'd play that game. In fact, I'd make you play it for torture, Mr. Kirioth. I'd make you sit in the lobby with my headset on because it's dead loud, lock you away, and say that's 10 hours. He'd just kill himself.
I just bring my wire cutters I use for the Warhammer 40k sprues and snip the wire on the headset.
Just sit there like this, like pretending.
I don't know what the problem is.
And I'll be like, fucking hell, this guy's solid. Jesus Christ.
Well, talking of totally gash shit games, there was a game that came out earlier this year called Raven's Cry. Right, it got slammed. It was terrible. I sent so many emails asking for keys because I was like, please give me a key. They didn't give any keys. They didn't give anyone any keys because it was such a shit game. The voice acting was terrible. The dialogue was terrible. They left like takes in, so it was like, oh, take 2. Yeah, was that okay? And then they left that in the game. There were bits where the voice acting just wasn't there because they, I don't know, didn't show up or something. So you just have gaps in the dialogue where it's like sentence 1 is voice acted, but sentence 2 is just a subtitle. But then the other guy would respond directly to sentence 2, even though you technically hadn't said it. It was just a disaster horror show. But the devs were like, okay, well, clearly we didn't do it justice. We fucked up. They didn't stop selling it, mind you.
They must have made some money on it, though, to go back and do something to it.
I think a lot of it was down to people wanting to see how shit it was, so they bought it. I think that's probably what it comes down to, because that happens a surprising amount. And they were like, they didn't stop selling it, mind you. They kept selling it, even though they acknowledged it was broken as fuck. And then they repackaged it. They did a rework of it. And then they renamed it and started selling it again. So it's like, it's been re-released. And it is now Vendetta, Curse of Raven's Cry. Which...
Well, shouldn't it be The Curse of the Raven's Cry or something? Like Curse of Raven Cry?
You can get away with Curse of the Raven's Cry. You can drop the first the, but you need a the in there somewhere. I mean, Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of Black Pearl. It sounds fucking stupid, doesn't it? So, they rework it, they re-release it, they redo it. Someone sent it me. And I was like, oh yes. Thank God for that. That's awesome. Because I emailed them again and they still didn't give it to me. So they know it's still like a pile of shit. In their defense, the voice acting is slightly better. In that it all seems to be there so far. I mean, I only played it for like 35 minutes, but there were no gaps in the dialogue. So there was no bits missing. It wasn't like there were just bits where he wasn't talking and he should have been. The voice acting's still terrible, and it's full of unnatural pauses, like crazy pauses. And if you're in a conversation, for instance, we're talking, we're just having a normal conversation. You would think it was weird if I spent like 10 seconds between your sentence and my reply to it, wouldn't you? You'd be like,
well, let's do it. Hey, Kiri, how are you doing today?
I'm okay. That's right. That is how it is all the way through. It's like the way they stitch it together is just terrible. The voice actors are clearly not professional. And if they are, I'm sorry, you need to find a new profession because that is just dire. They cannot. They don't seem to be able to judge how quickly to speak. Some of them talk like speech impediment slow or drunk person slow, where they're at that special point where you're so drunk that you think if you slow down the way you speak, you'll sound normal. And they sound like that. So it's like they are waiting outside. Quick. And it's okay. Then you get another... There's one guy, I can't remember what his name was because I just don't care, who was...
Ron. Call him Ron. Big Ron.
A guy called Big Ron, who is he's actually not too bad. And I was like, this guy's actually... The voice acting for this guy, he's all right. It's okay. I was about to comment on it. But then he pronounces the word murder. And he goes, "You're wanted for the murder." And that's literally how he says it. And I'm like, what? And then I realise he hasn't just said murder. He has put every single word like end to end as he said it. So it's like, Christopher Raisin, you're wanted for the murder of the Spanish fleet officer or something. And it's like, he just spews it out. And I was like, okay, well, this is quite bad. And I was taking the piss out of him. And then I get to the combat. This is like actual combat now. We're into combat. We've done the exposition. We've had the story of what's his name, Christopher Raven, which is the worst name ever, by the way. The guy who's
like Superman flashbacks.
The guy whose face, for some reason, like morphs when he talks. So it's like they've tried to do expressions, but the graphics ain't good enough. So instead of doing a normal expression, it's like he'll be talking, and the entire side of his face on a word will go like that, but all the way
like
up.
He's having a stroke.
It's like it goes uneven. It's like,
oh my god,
what just happened there? So we get into combat. I fight these 4 Spanish idiots. I think they were Spanish. Then I realise something, and it's in the video. I realise they've all died exactly the same way. They all fall backwards with their legs under them, with their arms splayed out to the side. And they have all fallen in literally an identical manner. And this is after combat, which is totally shit. Like, it's totally broken. It doesn't work. You're supposed to be able to do parries and stuff. Except there's no visual indication of when you can parry. And the parry it's not consistent. So you might try and parry when a guy is halfway through a swing and it'll work. The next time you'll try and parry when someone's halfway through a swing, and his sword will go through yours and cut you and kill you. This game is still 35 quid. It's still like, it's near to a AAA release. There's like a special edition of this game that's like 45 quid. And it's still totally broken. They've been working on it for months. They made a big fuss about it being re-released, about how this is now the game they wanted it to be originally. I do not understand how something that terrible can, firstly, how they can keep selling it up until the point where they re-release it. And then when they re-release it, have the cheek to say that they fixed it and made it better, when it is no better at all. Like, it's just not. You could say the voice acting's got better, but it's like saying, well, this dog shit from a terrier is better than this dog shit from a bull mastiff. Yeah, it's smaller, but it's still dog shit. It's still the same substance. It's still terrible. And they're still charging for it. And I'm like playing it through. I did stupidly at the end of the video say, oh, and I'll play the rest of it if you want me to. I'm not going to be playing the rest of it because I would not be able to handle it. Like, I physically couldn't do that because it would kill me, because it's just that dire. But it just surprised me because I'm just, in this age, this nice new age where companies are putting off release dates and saying, we don't want to do this. We want to make sure this game works because of Steam refunds. We're sorry that this broke. Oh God, let us fix this. We'll give you this for free to make up for it. Pulling games from sale like Arkham Knight, admittedly, then they released it again and it was still dog shit and didn't work. But, you know, they tried.
There's a new patch for that.
They tried. You know, they took it off sale. You couldn't buy it from Steam. You've got, like, no-name idiots with shit games they're trying to release for AAA prices who leave the game for sale, which is totally shit, while Steam refunds are available, then re-release the same game and it's still terrible whilst you've still got Steam refunds. Are they... I can't help but think, is this studio run by someone who doesn't use the internet? Like, do they just not look at the internet? Do they not know how things have changed, how things work? Do they not follow the news of any other developer ever? And it's just like maybe next year, one of them will look and go, oh shit, there's this thing called Steam refunds and people keep refunding our game. Is that what's going to happen? Are they just like stuck about 8 years in the past or something? It's just crazy. And it highlights this thing of, there's a lot of people that like to harp on about Steam needing some sort of quality control. It absolutely does need some sort of quality control. The fact that it's for sale anywhere is disgraceful. The fact that it's on Steam is absolutely abysmal because it's got no place on any marketplace because it's so it's a broken game. It's bad. It's buggy. It's broken. It doesn't work properly. The physics are knackered for a start. The combat's terrible. It is objectively bad. It's not like a subjective thing. Like you can sit there and say, "Oh, well, COD's bad."
In my opinion, I don't like the game. Yeah, no,
yeah.
At least it
is.
Well, no, at least it works. Hang on, let me try see if mine loads because it updated. Here we go, bloke.
Oh, Black
Moment
Ops.
of truth.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So go.
I bet it doesn't.
No, just a black screen with noise again.
Oh God. So yeah, that
Can't even get rid of it.
Vendetta Curse of Raven's Cry, it's just no better. It's still dire. And it's funny. Like, it was funny to play. But at the same time, it's kind of not funny because the guy who sent me it, I feel bad for him now because it's like, that's a lot of money to waste. If I could find some way of if there was some way of allowing Steam refunds to happen for gifts, I would absolutely go through with it because it's just dreadful. But yeah,
his payment was you playing the game, bloke.
Even to see how, even to have a laugh at it, it's funny to start with. It is not something you'd be able to find funny for more than about half an hour because then you'd just be playing a shit game. And you'd have to play a shit game to actually get to the story, and the story's shit. So yeah, well,
I
don't go on
tried to get it
Wednesday
cut the
then.
other day. I know.
Every
Look how
time.
crazy it is. I mean, it's just I got my hair grows so much. I've laughed about it in the past, like where I take medication that's supposed to make it fall out. It grows even more. I mean, what? Well, that's one of the side effects, but I don't get it.
There is one other thing. There's one other game, but it was actually
Anyway.
quite good. The other game that I played was Mordheim City of the Damned,
Oh,
which is now released.
Jesus fucking hell, Mordheim.
What's your problem with Mordheim?
Nobody's going to play it. That's the problem I've got with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, that is the problem. But it's not... This is the thing.
It's okay, though, ain't it?
Yeah, it's not a bad game. The amount of work that they've put in since
you played it in early access, didn't you?
Yeah. The amount of work they've put in and the changes that they've made and the way they've actually constructed the game around the kind of basics that you saw when it was in early access, it's a really... It's quite a good game now. It's very... You know, it's very polished. It's fun to play. It looks good. It sounds good. They've got... If you're one of those people who loves the stats, who's like, oh, I want to know everything. Like, I guess the...
Yeah, I've seen that from some of your video where there's like a lot of information on screen.
Yeah. It's I guess it's like the stat lover's dream, that game is. There's so many stats to keep track of, and you can directly affect, you know, what weapons you guys use and how they perform, and you know what gear they're wearing, and it's a very well-rounded game. I still think there's a couple of issues with it, in that I don't know why you need to have that third person controlling the movement yourself thing. I don't understand why it's not like an XCOM type thing with like squares and it's just a right click. It seems a bit of a weird choice. It's not bad, it's just puzzling. Like I just think it could be more efficient. But then again,
maybe that goes against Games Workshop's whole do not replicate the tabletop game.
That could be
like just clicking and moving people in that kind of fashion.
Yeah, I mean, especially if the rumors of them bringing the specialist games back is true, then they would presumably be bringing back Mordheim. So you wouldn't want something that's directly similar. You know, the fact that you've got the third person movement and the map is top down is a bit disconcerting as well. Now, I did say in the video that could be just me. Like, I've got a terrible sense of direction. Everyone knows that. I've mentioned it enough times. But so when I go from the top-down view to trying to work out where I'm going with the guy, it's like, oh, hang on, wait a minute. I've just looked at the map. I think that's where I need to go. But even in the video, I ended up in the wrong place because I thought I was a street over from where I was. So I ended up hiding in the wrong place. That could just be me. I've not really seen anyone else complain about it. So, but, you know, it kind of does impact it a little bit. But yeah, you know, the combat's decent, the sound's decent. They've absolutely nailed the look of it. That's the one thing I've always said about Mordheim they've done really well, is it looks how I'd expect that game to look. Like the scenery and the character design is pretty much spot on from what I remember from the original.
Kind of like Vermintide, the way that looks as well.
Yeah.
They
do look very similar because they're both set in similar time. Well, exactly the same time because it's well, actually,
Age of Sigmar fantasy, ain't it?
Yeah.
Maybe there's like crossover then because we know they're published by Focus, so maybe the two different studios might have worked with each other or something, or shared assets.
It's very consistent. But yeah, it's a decent game and I do enjoy it, but I do worry about just how well it'll do, frankly, because it's been in early access a long time. It's got plenty of decent reviews, but the problem with a game like that's kind of that sort of, because it is quite niche, let's be honest. It's not
very niche. I think it's this is something that I'm just gonna. I mean, I had issues with the RTS game Focus published and stuff like that where I enjoy them, but they're a bit too niche. This is even more niche than that. This is like, you need to be a fan. I mean, I don't think you're going to get somebody who's just going to walk through the door and be like, oh, Mordheim, what's this? And then pick it up. You're going to get people who are fans of that game, which isn't even made anymore, was not made for the last 15 years or whatever's been going on with it. Yeah.
And you'll get fans of that game genre, but the game genre is very niche, and it's based on a very niche like background as well. So I don't know.
Niche. It's
the ultimate nicheness, and in a way,
the
it's
ultimate
a shame,
niche quiche.
The ultimate niche. They've done a decent job.
Love me a bit of quiche, Lorraine.
I don't know. I don't think it's going to do that well. I think probably all the people who were going to buy it have probably already bought it because it's been early access for so long. And
well, that's a good discussion in itself. The whole fucking early access. When a game's in early access and you play the game in early access, then it's very hard for the game to then get you back on launch. I mean, I played. This has happened most times with me. This has, and you know, talking of Blizzard again, you look at the way they're dealing with Overwatch. It'd be interesting how they're going to try and build hype for that.
Yeah.
You know, like because there was a massive wave of hype and going to die down. Same for, I mean, it did it with Heroes of the Storm, the same sort of thing, where it was a load of people had access to it before. Anybody had access to it, and then it started to open up gradually and never really had a launch. It did have a launch quite recently, but nobody really cared. It was just like, oh, now it's out, but everybody could already play it anyway. Weird. Like, I think you lose a lot of impact when you go for the early access route, but I know why they do it, especially these smaller devs, because they want. I mean, Blizzard's not early access. That was just the stupid example of like a game coming out before it's actually out, kind of thing. I mean, you're not actually paying for it at that point, although it kind of was in Heroes of the Storm because you could buy packs and stuff. But yeah, like I know why these smaller studios go for early access because it gives them a cash injection as a developing the game. But then I think you end up with this problem where they've got the game, this is what they want to make. They get to a point, they need more money maybe, or it's factored into their game design anyway. At this point, we go early access. Come out into early access. They've got the safety net of, well, it's in early access, so this could change. So you can play the game and go back and look at your video. You say things like, yeah, well, maybe this will be different in the future, blah, 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 because it's still in early access. And then we get to the point where the game launches, and nobody really cares because you've already looked at the game.
Trade-off, ain't it?
Yeah. And they've already launched. It's like they have a soft launch and then they have a real launch, which is just token gesture,
I think it's
really.
A gamble. I think it's a gamble of whether it's going to have the longevity and the punch when it finally comes out, or whether you've already expended all of the energy during early access. And I think for some titles it works out okay. I think for others, especially when it's something... But here's the problem. When it's something niche like Mordheim, would that game even get made if it wasn't for early access? It's almost like you'd need the early access to get it made because it's such a niche title. But putting it out into early access...
this is the thing, do you? Maybe they could have... I don't know, you know. I'm surely not. Surely no publisher would be like, yeah, early access receipts are part of us taking you on. Maybe they are. I don't know.
I don't know.
Because you'd think they'd get enough finances in place to produce what they wanted. But sometimes I think it's this case of like, it's almost like feature creep. It's like, well, if we do really well in early access, then we'll add more shit and we'll start announcing stuff. And then we can keep saying every couple of weeks, wow, this new update to the early access. Come in, guys, come check it out. New race, new this, new that. And then the game launches. But there's only so many times the public can take that kind of shit. Yeah. Like your launch or your early access launch, get a lot of buzz. You get news sites picking up on you. Then when you do another one, because you've added another race in, then you do another one, and then 5 down the line is the actual launch, guys, we're finished. People don't care at that point. Yeah. DayZ's the only exception to that rule, really. Maybe H1Z1 to some extent, where they keep selling even though they are in early access.
Yeah. But then again, I suppose those are DayZ was like the only thing that was that thing. And And it's not really
that's dropping.
Yeah. It's a weird one. It'd be interesting to talk to someone who's in a position to decide whether something goes on early access or whether it just gets made or whatever, just to see what the background of it is, because it doesn't... I say it seems a bit random. In a way it does, because it's like Mordheim is early access. I've not seen anything about Battlefleet Gothic is going to be going into early access. I've not read anything about that.
It will, though.
They're both sort of niche titles. I mean, when Mordheim went into early access, it was like, here's one map and one group of guys. That's what you get. I've not seen anything. I don't know. Maybe it will.
Battlefleet Gothic, I know, has got some sort of test, although they didn't include us in it. Oh no, it's coming alpha test. I don't know. I don't think it is going into early access. I think it's just going to launch.
What dictates that being non-early access when that's another like arguably niche Games Workshop standalone game? But Mordheim did go into early access. What's the difference? Weird.
I do think games suffer from early access, though, on the whole. Sometimes it can be positive, but I think a lot do suffer from it, where you just lose interest in the game.
Yeah.
And the Blizzard example I gave, it kind of is like early access, where you do burn out. You can't just keep having people pumping tons and tons and tons of videos out and loads of people playing the game and loads of people streaming the game when hardly anyone has access to it, because then that initial mega wave of, wow, fucking hell, Overwatch, or wow, fucking hell, whatever game, starts to die off. I mean, it did with Heroes of the Storm. I mean, I think they even did it with Hearthstone, because I remember this was like random. I was just one of the lucky ones who got access to Hearthstone. Like, just turned up on the launch one day and I was like, what the fuck is this shit? And I was pissing around with it. And they even did the same thing with that. The difference with that game is it's so casual, and a lot of people play that game just on and off.
Yeah.
And it's got a lot of viewers on Twitch and on YouTube and whatever. It kind of sustained itself. But then you look at Heroes of the Storm, does not work in the same way because look at it. That's like the idiot game, the idiot MOBA. I know it's supposed to be the simpler MOBA, but it's almost like me as a guy who's not a major MOBA fan. Dota 2's the hardcore MOBA. League is the MOBA for the masses, and then Heroes of the Storm is for idiots. It's like this stupid game. Like, it makes me laugh when people have got esports teams, or there are teams built around Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah,
it's not going
to result in anything that I don't think.
And Blizzard are crazy. Like, yeah, come on, esports, man. Esports will work for Overwatch, though.
Definitely.
Right. What else have you played? You played some other shit as well. No, you ain't.
No, that was it for me.
I'm just forcing it upon you. I'm like, what have you played? I played Blood Bowl. But it's been a long time since I played Blood Bowl.
I wasn't able to make most of that stream, but I turned up partway through. The first thing I saw was one of your guys killed somebody, player, and then the guy just left. I was like, what a bitch. What a little bitch. One death. Because I even said in the chat, I was like, oh my god, how many has he lost? And the chat was like, he's only lost one. Like, what a wanker. Who leaves after one
chaos
death?
As well. Like, the big problem with that team, if any of you guys know about Blood Bowl, the team value is like approaching 2,000 in that chaos team, so it's quite a powerful team. Like, in terms of team value, it's not that good because everyone's got the claw and no other upgrades, or like the claw and mighty blow when they should have like block and fucking guard and whatever, which is getting really annoying because we keep having to ban people out the chat who just turn up and go, why don't you have guard in any of your characters? This is a shit build. And the chat are like, it's a fun build. No, but it's not going to have any fun if everyone dies. You've been banned out the chat.
Yep.
I don't know why these people exist. But anyway, yeah, it's suffering from two strange problems. The first problem is if I come against a team of the same team value, it will not be an idiotic claw team. It will be a team of dwarfs with everybody with block, everybody with guard, everybody with all the abilities that make you die. And I have nothing to counter that, so I just keep dying to defend it down all the time, and it's really annoying to me. Or you get people like the guy who left the game, where they're like, oh, Jesus, it's a 2,000-point chaos team. Now, in Blood Bowl 2, and even in Blood Bowl 1, but it's more prevalent in Blood Bowl 2, I think, because of the way the Open League thing's done. Chaos kill teams, that's what they're known as. So if you see a chaos team of high team value in that league, it is a kill team. It is a team that kills you, because they expect you to have block, mighty blow, and like maybe plus strength on like all of your characters, so you're there to kill, to murder. You'll have the mutations that like claw, so you reduce their armor value to 7. If there might be an armor value 9 dwarf, don't matter, because they've now got 7. Clawed them, and it's like, and all of this shit. So they're going to lose their players. Now, when people want to play against you, they'll just leave. Well, they don't want to play against you, sorry, and they'll just leave because they don't want to lose their player. They've just spent months leveling up, and you just kill him because you're a chaos kill team. So it's like, and it gets really frustrating when people just leave, especially when the game starts to get good, and then they just leave. It's like, well, so it's, I don't know, it's annoying. But
come back, I want to kill more of you guys.
Blood Bowl will carry on. I'll keep streaming it. It'll never be like I streamed it before, where I was streaming it like every fucking day or whatever. I've got to play Dodger at some point. I think in like a week, 2 weeks, probably. We don't know. There's still games that I've got to be played in this week when I played Mathas weeks ago. And then I'll play I think she's Dwarf, and that'll probably be, it'll be streamed, I'd imagine. And but really, game-wise, you know what I was tempted to do? I actually spoke to a guy about this. Freeblade. I said, have you played Freeblade? And the answer was, yes, I've played Freeblade. Piece of shit. And I was like, oh. I kind of expected that. See, because I can't be bothered to remove shit off my iPad to install it. It's that bad. I'm just like, I can't be bothered to delete what I've got. And I'm like, is it really worth the gamble? So I asked the chap I know, and he was like, no, it ain't. It's the worst thing ever.
On the other hand, it could be quite funny playing it because it's so terrible. It could be.
No, I'm not one of them, bloke.
You done it for H1Z1. The gash game gamble.
The cash game gamble. Well, you know it's shit. You already know it's shit, and you just go in for the punishment.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was for science. H1Z1 was. That was like, how is it different? Because people are still playing it. It wasn't like the game's shit. I know it's shit. Let's just go and die on the game.
I want to see how shit it is.
Although I was getting vibes though off the chat before that stream started. It was like, started playing this game. I'm like,
yeah, it's like they know something I don't know. I don't like this.
Yeah, so that's basically all I've played this week. I think I don't really know what I mean. Games that I'd kind of like to mess around on a little bit. It's probably Battlefront, but I don't have access to it. I doubt I'll buy it, which seems really. I know I'd play it, but I'm not paying for it, and well, I'm not paying for it right now because I know I could play Overwatch instead. But that's very unique to my situation, where if I've got an FPS time slot, I'll play Overwatch. But I don't know like what. Only like a couple of hundred people have got access to it. So maybe if I didn't, I probably would have got Battlefront and played it. One last thing I want to say. Sidestrafe made a video on Battlefront where he spoke about playing it for a week, and it's an interesting one because it's a dumbed down retard game, right? But it's fun to play. I agree, it's fun to play. It's dead simple and it's Star Wars, right? But an interesting point he made was about the graphics, and this is kind of a thing a lot of people like to say graphics aren't everything, don't they? And it's not exactly true. I mean, like he said, graphics add to the immersion. Yeah. If the graphics are great, you get lost in the world. And with Battlefront, the graphics, that's one of the best looking games, if not the best looking game of the year. It looks like Star Wars, and it looks crazy, especially like on Endor and the jungle planets, whatever. It looks like, wow, this looks really good. And I thought it was quite a good point, that was, because a lot of time now, you see people just like, oh, graphics don't matter, provided the gameplay's good. And why don't I play Blood Bowl 1, but I play Blood Bowl 2? Blood Bowl 1 looks like shit.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the UI shit, although it's still a bit dodgy in Blood Bowl 2, fucking end turn button. But I think that's an interesting thing. Like, a lot of people don't put enough emphasis on graphics. I mean, there was a time where I was all about graphics, and I'd only play games if they look good, which is not the way to be, because some games can be decent, but never put a game down for the way it looks if it looks good.
Yeah.
Or say, oh, it's got good graphics, but that means it ain't got anything else. It's like, no. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting because Sidestrafe's channel's interesting when you see the type of games that he covered.
Yeah.
Like your World of Tanks and stuff like that. So it doesn't really fit on his channel. So for him to enjoy it because he's a massive fan of Star Wars, kind of shows you that, it takes you back to this thing of games are fun, ain't they? You play games for fun. You don't play games for it to be a technical masterpiece or like any kind of little issue and, oh my God, I can't play this game no more. You play a game because it's fun, and if you get enjoyment out of the game, that's all you need to get.
Well, this is the thing. It's like we talked about Fallout 4 being a technical mess. I've never said don't play it.
No, we still say it's an okay game.
You carry on. If you've already got like 100 hours in it, more power to you. I don't care. It's if you're enjoying it, that's what it boils down to. It's just, you can enjoy a game without it being a masterpiece, just like you can dislike a game even though it's technically brilliant. It all comes down to fun at the end of the day. That said, it's like no game should ever be hated for looking too good. It just doesn't make any sense to do it that way. And just like some games, like the graphics are not necessarily the focus. They can still be good games even if they don't look amazing.
Well, the whole thing with Battlefront is it is a shallow game, and it is shallow. I say it is, and it is. You can't just say it isn't. Like you said, it's an objective. It is shallow. That is it. But does that mean it's bad? No. Like I said before, I fully think that game was just totally designed to give you the feeling of you're in a Star Wars battle, which it does very well. The sound effects are great. The graphics look fucking amazing. The blasters look great, and all of that shit. It's easy to play. You jump in.
Amazing. It's just
the sound is immense. You play the game. You're in the battle. Great. Then you leave. That's it. It's not a game about being some sort of pro gamer or any of that shit. It's just about playing Star Wars with your mates. That's all it is. That's all it is.
Yeah. And if that's all they're aiming for, then...
Well, it is. And they've pulled it off.
Succeeded, and
Must be.
Yeah. I think that's a positive note. A nice positive note to end it on. Especially since I've got to go
end it on. It's like go and end it.
It's actually a really long one as well. Nearly 2 hours, this one. I think it's the longest we've done, but close.
Well, a hotfix quite long as well.
About an hour 40. About an hour 45.
About usual.
Tell you what, you've had good value. Had good value this week. Good lord. If you appreciate it, just as a final,
if you appreciate it,
you can always click the linky up there. The link down there. Yeah, I don't know why I've gone quiet. Patreon action. So yeah, come back next Thursday at 7 p.m. GMT for the next hotfix. And of course, if you support between now and then, we'll read your name out and give you a little shout out, and it'll be delightful. And well, yeah, we'll see. I always say we'll see you then, but we hopefully see you for every video in between as well. So whenever the next video is, we'll see you then.
Goodbye. Goodbye.